number 10, I know we have a speaker who wants to speak on this. This is approval of professional services agreement with JPW Communications for citywide communications, marketing, and public relations services. Presentation by Megan Wishner, our management analyst. Hi, Megan.
Hello, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. The item before you tonight is the approval of a PSA with JPW Communications for citywide communications, marketing, and public relations services. So why do we need a communications, marketing, and PR consultant? City staff is committed to identifying innovative ways to effectively and efficiently connect and engage with our community in a meaningful and memorable way. In-house staff currently does not have the capacity to oversee this function independently. As many of you know, admin department does oversee public information duties and efforts, and I am a one-man show essentially who does oversee all of our public information and marketing efforts. Although I wear a lot of hats, I cannot do it all. So for me to effectively do my communication and marketing efforts, it is crucial for me to have an on-call and as needed a consultant on board to assist me on these efforts. So JPW does have a specially curated team of 14 dedicated professionals specializing in all different facets of creative marketing and media to assist the city on an as-needed basis. The city has been working with a marketing firm the past few years. However, we never went out to a formal RFP process, so city staff decided to go out to RFP, see what else was out there, what other options were maybe better suited to us, and we were able to find a different firm to assist us on these efforts. There were 5 eligible candidates who did propose throughout the RFP process. 3 finalists were interviewed and an evaluation committee, which included myself, management analyst from community development, and the recreation community services manager, served on the evaluation committee and are now recommending JPW to serve as the city's communications, marketing, and PR consultant. Who is JPW? I'm going to go ahead and show a quick 1-minute video that will kind of showcase who they are as a firm. I might have to do it over here, sorry. Not gonna work. It is a very captivating video, and I'm happy to share with council following this. They shared it during their evaluation panel, and it was a great video, so I could share that with council following the meeting. So JPW's qualifications, they are a from government for government. That is their slogan, meaning that most of the staff that work for JPW has been in our shoes, has worked for a local government entity, so they kind of know where we're coming from and are better able to serve our marketing needs. JPW has worked with more than 60 government entities across the state of California. JPW has been awarded by industry peers more than 25 times, including 3 Best in Show acknowledgments. JPW has in-house omni-channel media team that's focused on developing human-centric visuals that help clarify complex issues rather than further complicate them. And JPW is one of 2 certified public participation professionals in the state of California trained by the International Association of Public Participation to effectively engage residents from all walks of life. So some examples of their past work, they recently helped the city of Tustin, which is our Orange County neighbor, rebrand their City Seal City logo. You could see an example there on the right-hand side of the slide. They even gave a quick backstory about their new logo, and they put the little us in Tustin, and that was kind of a creative aspect that they brought to life in the new logo of Tustin, which we thought was very creative. They also worked with CAPIO, which is the California PIO Association, which I am a part of, and several other local government professionals are a part of, with their full-scale branding project, which is right there on the left-hand side. And they helped the city of San Marcos with the recruitment video, which is something that the city will look to pursue in the near future with our consultant on board. You can see if this one will play. Okay. Striking out on all ends. Sorry about that. I can share that video after the presentation as well. Also a very great video. Here are some other organizations that they're currently working with or have worked with in the past. I'll let you go ahead and browse that for a quick second before we move forward. So JPW's approach, something else that really stood out to us during their interview, was a Public Relations Society of America's RPI method. So essentially, this is something, if they are awarded the contract tonight, this is something that they're going to come in ready to kind of implement, working with our team right off the bat. And that is the RPI method, R standing for research and analyzing the city's current foundation as it relates to communication, marketing, and public relation efforts, planning and setting a framework to guide efforts by setting goals, identifying audiences, crafting objectives, and defining strategies, implementation or putting said strategies and tactics into place and disseminating targeted messages to our identified audiences, and finally the evaluation process, which is the final phase and will essentially tell us if we've achieved our goals and objectives, and if not, how we can improve and adjust for future projects. Thought it was a pretty nifty method. Thought I'd share. So our identified scope of work will include, but won't be limited to, the following marketing needs the city currently sees that they need to work on. And that would be developing consistent and high-quality photography and videography standards so marketing assets appear cohesive to the new brand identity, oversight and guidance on social media across common digital platforms on an as-needed basis, recruitment video services, oversight, guidance, and editing responsibilities as it relates to the city's podcast, design and layout of the city's various publications and newsletters, conducting a verification process to verify all of our city-associated social media accounts, digital and print translation services, monthly reports and analytics of progress, and other communications, marketing, and PR services as needed. So the cost proposal is the following. JPW has included an hourly rate sheet that outlines their standard pricing for their creative services. This in-depth pricing structure will serve as a baseline reference for when we're considering the budget. Ultimately, JPW did come in as the lowest bidder out of all 5 of the firms that did bid. City staff will budget $50,000 per year with a not-to-exceed amount of $150,000 for the entirety of the 3-year contract. We already budgeted for fiscal year 24-25 to include that $50,000, so there is sufficient funding for the upcoming fiscal year to accommodate the first year of the contract, and that will be funded out of the Admin Services Professional Services Fund. And city staff will continue to budget for the service for the entirety of the 3-year contract with 2 optional 1-year renewals subject to availability through the annual budget process. So next steps, if JPW is awarded the contract, they will conduct a thorough analysis of all city departments and identify marketing needs here at the city. I will be the main contact for the contract, working closely with the JPW team, and JPW will provide progress reports that will be shared with City Council. So the alternatives and recommendations tonight are the following. The evaluation committee is recommending JPW based on their proven experience, past performance, clear proposal, excellent interview, and coming in as the lowest cost proposal. Alternative 1 is accept the proposal and execute a contract for the professional services agreement with JPW Communications for a 3-year term with an optional 2 1-year extension as the contracted communications, marketing, and PR firm for the city. Alternative 2 is do not accept the proposals for communications, marketing, and PR and direct staff to take alternative action. So tonight, staff is recommending City Council approve Alternative 1. And with that, I do have Jenny Wendell, who is the CEO and founder of JPW, here, who would like to briefly introduce herself, and we are both available for any questions council may have.
Great. You said Jenny?
Jenny. Yes.
Welcome, Jenny.
Well, good evening, Mayor, Council, City staff. It's a pleasure to be before you this evening. We want to thank you for the opportunity to be considered for this contract. I must say I'm thrilled that the video didn't work. I'm sorry, Megan. I hate seeing myself up on the screen. I consider myself a public servant at heart. I spent 18 years as a government communicator working for 3 different cities throughout Southern California and then ending my public service career at the Port of San Diego. And quite frankly, I started JPW because during that tenure, I had a really hard time finding a consultant that understood what I needed. There was a lot of ramp-up time, and often I found myself redoing the work, and maybe I'm a slow learner, but after some time, I thought maybe I could do this better for government agencies. So in 2015, we set out to create a firm, as our tagline says, for government, from government. Excuse me. Our leadership team has all worked in-house at various cities from Carlsbad to San Diego. Excuse me. And we love this work. We're sort of the Leslie Nopes of local government. We really live and breathe this stuff. I told Megan, she said, sorry that this isn't one of the first items. I said, I don't mind. I love being at a city council meeting. So we really hope to have the opportunity to serve you and serve you well, and we look forward to any questions you may have.
All right. Thank you, Jenny. Any questions from council?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes, Mayor Bowie?
I'm not sure I'm ready to vote if I don't get to see the video. That was just a joke.
I'll share it after.
That was just a joke. You mentioned there was a committee, evaluation committee, I think.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the list. Who are the evaluation committee?
It was the Community Development Management Analyst, Victor Viramontes, and Jenny Rorsham, who is the Recreation and Community Services Manager.
So 2 people.
3 folks and myself.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
all from different departments who will probably utilize the services.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just want to know.
I have comments.
Councilmember Constantine?
Okay, so, yeah, I'm a no on this, and I'll tell you why. I know we can do in-house. We know what we need to do, and we can make it happen, even if we have to bring somebody on part-time. I can't justify spending taxpayer money on this. Just like we did when we hired the consultant to rebrand the crossings area, we're chipping away at ourselves. We're losing our identity. We're just losing, and we weren't satisfied with that. So we need to increase awareness about the social media that we have, and it was on one of the slides, that we post in and about the city website, increase the subscribers to city emails. This is to get more people aware of what's going on in the city, development projects, meetings, everything else. We post the city council meetings, but they're, either same day or the day before. I mean, we could do better. Planning commission meetings are not posted on any social media. I can't justify it. 3 years is a really long time, and we could do in-house.
It sounds like you've given a lot of reasons why we need a consultant.
No, I think we're not doing our best. I mean, I hate to say these things, but I can't say yes and be satisfied with it. I don't think that's the absolute best for this community. I really don't.
Okay, we have a request to speak. Why don't we bring up the
Katie Wright.
Welcome back, Katie.
Thank you, Mayor Grandis, and hello, Linda in Las Vegas. I tend to be contrarian. I tend to fuss about consultant fees. They're the one for the crossings, frankly. I wasn't here for the first one. I was here for the second person that came up, and that appeared to me as a taxpayer as a total waste of money, frankly. So there's an automatic default to go to consultants, and I am not a professional. I don't have a bachelor's degree. It could be the best practices, so I don't want to badmouth it out of hand. I know Megan does a phenomenal job. If she needs help, I'm all for help for Megan, frankly. Hats off. Absolute hats off to Megan. She does incredible work across the board. My concern is, I come here a lot. I come here early. You even talked with me about it. If I'm not 15 minutes early someplace, I feel like I'm late. So I like to just kick it here. I'll read a book. I'll write a book. I'll do stitching, whatever. So I'm here, so I know that meeting after meeting after meeting, you're in closed sessions, doing MOUs and contract negotiations with all the various labor groups. Hi, Carrie. And I know it's all ethical, above board. I don't even look into that. I've been a union person. My dad was a union person. I'm union all the way, frankly. But I know there's these contract negotiations that are ongoing, MOUs, RFPs, RFQs. I'm learning what all these things mean. What triggered me just now, and I have a perfect, hey, Megan gave a great presentation, thumbs up, but videography, I am concerned. And I would think that with 2 members of the board of directors of PCTA sitting right here in front of me, as well as someone who's very, very involved, I'm concerned that the videography needs to be separated out, and it should be looked at and viewed by more than 1 or 2 or 3 people, because at some point to me it looks like it's a conflict of interest. It looks like it's unfair to me, to the videographers who are already contracted to do work on behalf of the city, for the city, covering city events. If their income or their work is impacted by this in any way, you're going to see me out here with picket signs up and down Slater, because that, to me, smacks as unfair. I would request that you possibly revisit this and possibly do something in the wording about the videography portion to protect our PCTA people who look out for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie.
I have no further requests to speak on this item.
Oh, I want to.
Councilmember Constantine?
Okay, so Megan, I want to thank you for the presentation. I don't want to be, disrespectful or anything. I understand that you need assistance, and I'm sure we can make that happen. I just don't feel that this is the right move. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Councilmember Canine?
Mayor, yeah, thank you, Megan and Jenny, for joining us tonight. So I've been learning a lot about the power of communication. I'm also a consultant. And there's a lot I don't know. And one of the firms I recently worked at had the wisdom to bring in a specialist, because there's a lot of technology that is happening really quickly that, frankly, my competition takes advantage of. And I'm just, ignorant and maybe probably losing some business. The nature of this contract, if I'm reading this correctly, it's an as needed. So I think the idea is it's extra support if you have a spike of activity and it's not something that Megan can get done with your team. So I think that's part of the intent. And that's a good thing, because there could be moments where we don't foresee an activity that you really wish you had somebody to help you out with. So it's only what you spend that you're going to be, that we're going to be basically paying for. Okay, so I think that's important to note. This is a stretch. If you need the help, it's there for you. If you don't need it, you're not going to be spending it. So I think that's why I think this is a good idea, both for support, but also because technology is changing so fast in communications and outreach and all of those aspects. I think that's why I think this is an important thing for us to get behind. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Harper?
You have a question. So are we currently using consultants to help with this, with our communications effort, and then we just don't have a contract?
Correct.
Okay. Who are we using now?
We were using Trepepi Smith and Associates.
Oh, Trepepi. Okay, all right. Well, I guess given that we're already using somebody, I think that, perhaps it's not as, maybe as big a hit on the budget as we might think. On the other hand, I do appreciate Councilmember Constantine's comments about it being a 3-year contract, which does seem, maybe we can, I don't know if we can review it after a year and see how it's going, but I would be open to making it a kind of a 1 year with 4 options to renew instead of a 3-year with 2. But
I think automatically it has an option built in, because if we don't like what they're doing, we don't use them, because it's an add-on. So if after a month, Megan is like, this just isn't what we want, then we just don't contract with them. It's a pay-as-you-go, right? It's not a pay upfront?
Yeah, so I'll use them on an as, like Jim kind of mentioned, I will use them on an as-needed basis. So we'll have $50,000 that we budget for. We may use it, we may use half, we may use a quarter of it. So it's not something that we need to use every last cent of. That makes sense. And if we don't like them, I think in the contract, we need to give them a 30-day notice and we can opt out of the contract.
got it. Okay, all right.
Okay, so, 1 second, Vice Mayor Bowie. So, one thing I think you could agree with, Councilmember Constantine, and you push for all the time, is transparency, reaching out to the public, making people aware of what's going on, and you gave a whole laundry list of improvements that we need. And this can help us in that area.
Yeah, but
So
it's basic, and we're not doing this. And it has nothing to do with,
that's
you
right.
can bring on anybody you want to. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. And I think council should have input as to what is going out also to the people. And like, we don't. We just
No.
don't.
Okay, I don't think we're going to agree on this. I think it's a good idea. I see the tremendous work that you're doing just the improvements over the last couple of years has really gone up in the department, and you're doing it all yourself, and
Yeah.
that's not your only job. So,
I wish I had more of me so I can do it myself, but unfortunately, I can't. There's only
okay,
amount of
so
hours
at this moment, I'm sorry, Vice Mayor Bowie,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
So Megan, you mentioned that we're currently using Jim.
Geppetti's.
Currently, we have used Trepepi in the past. We opened a PO for them, but we never went through an official RFP process to procure them.
And how long have we been using them? For the
We've
last
used them off and on for probably about 2 to 3 years.
2-3 years. Can you ballpark, let's say in 2-3 years, what's the average yearly expense?
Probably around 20 to 30,000 a year.
So would you safely say if we approve this, you probably spend within the same numbers? The only difference is now you have a contractual basis as needed, where in the past you did not have?
Correct.
Because you were used in the same.
Correct. I
In the
was
same,
still utilizing a
you're in the same
consultant.
format,
Yes.
on the basis only this time you have a contract.
Correct.
As Councilmember Kunin just mentioned, you will use them as needed.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see that you will need, a big jump suddenly because now you have a contract. Having this contract, would it give you a better leverage communicating with them, working with them, or why are you asking for a contract versus you didn't have one before?
We wanted to go through the official process of procuring a consultant. We used Trepepi on an as-needed basis as well, but we didn't anticipate using them for multiple events or services. We maybe anticipated using them for one event here, one event. So then we just started using them on a repetitive basis. So we figured putting our consultant on contract was the best.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ted.
So having said that, then I'm okay with moving forward, but however, I have to agree with Councilmember Harper and Councilmember Constantine, maybe 3 years is too long, maybe a 1 year with a 1-2 optional a year, with options up to 3 years.
Again, we talked about this, if it's not working, we don't use them.
Okay, all right, then,
Okay.
if it's not working, we don't use, then I'm okay with that.
Okay, I'm going to go to City Manager Maggie Lee.
Yeah, if I can go ahead and expand what Megan has stated, I think over the years when we started out with Trepepi Smith and Associates, we started with a 10,000. So, I think it really ramped up in this last year where, there is a demand in more communication in the community and approach in regards to quality from staff perspective, and that technology has advanced. Social media has been that form that we're trying to engage the community with different segment of the community. And then the anticipation of additional development in the pipeline, community development, will utilize this as a tool to educate and engage the community of the housing development that is happening in the pipeline. So, we anticipate that because of these additional projects in the pipeline that will continue, and potentially with, some challenges that we have, connecting with the community is very important for us, and it's a priority for elected official. And so it's very critical for us to have expertise hand in hand with us to provide us with some guidance if we need to improve and if we need to do anything differently than what we currently are doing.
Okay,
I
thank
have
you.
something else.
Councilmember Constantine?
So here's the thing. If we've been working with, I don't like that word used, if we've been working with Trepepe Smith, the city's goals and what I know to be my own goals, they're like this. They're crossing. We're not trying to get more people informed. You're just basically putting out other media to the people. There's no goal of reaching a lot of people in this city. And that's what people, the comments that we saw before, there's no goal of increasing awareness, reaching out to people that we don't reach out to, whether it's for information on a lot of the housing developments coming through the pipeline or city events, volunteer groups. We're stuck. And it doesn't matter who we hire if we do not give them the proper scope of work. So I think if you guys go forward with this, that you have somebody from city council assist with this. Because otherwise it doesn't make sense. You're just going to spin the wheels for another couple of years.
Okay.
And this is nothing personal, Megan. We really thank you. You do amazing. I have no complaints.
Yeah, I have to kind of take issue with your comments. I think that the staff does as much, a lot of work to try to get the word out as much as possible. So your perception may be that they're trying to hide stuff or trying to keep people not informed or not informed enough. But to say that they're not trying to increase awareness, I think is unfair. And, I believe that's not what's happening.
Well, that's a misunderstanding. Of course not. We're
Okay.
not getting new people.
All right. Jenny, it looks like did you want to make another comment before we move forward?
Just two quick comments. I don't want to belabor the point. I, like Megan, served as a PIO one-woman show for many years. It is a tough job, so hats off to her for doing that. To your point, Councilmember, I wanted to just mention that part of the scope of work, and we really don't ever make a recommendation on what we should do until we get under the hood a little bit, and that was that RPI figure that Megan showed earlier, the research, planning, implementation, and evaluation. Two pieces of that are really important are the research and the evaluation. So really first starting with trying to understand the community, the needs of the council, the city, staff, et cetera. That's going to be part of our body of work before we ever start putting any, wheels in motion. And then the evaluation piece, obviously, again, to your point, just want to speak to that. We want to make sure what we're doing is actually making an impact towards the objectives that we've set. So that process is really important. I think it may be what's been missing in the past. We've seen it work time and time again. Just continuing on that pattern and not letting your foot off the gas of the communications effort is really critical for cities now more than ever. So just wanted to make mention of that process if it helps at all.
Okay, thank you. All right, at this point, I think your department does a tremendous job. I think we're coming up with new and innovative ways to try and reach out to the public, much better than just sending a postcard, which is the suggestion that's been used over and over. And I think it's something that you, I know with you working with Trepepe Smith, you've learned a lot. And when you learn from them, you then use it and don't have to consult out to them. And I think that if we have an urgent matter that comes up, say the town hall, instead of being in August, was in 2 weeks, and we needed to get the public involved and knowing about things immediately or some other item that comes up, you have a avenue now that you could go through that you wouldn't be able to do it on your own. So at this point, I'm going to make the motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
I'll go ahead and second. I'll make a little comment too. I do sit on the PCTA board, and just want to echo that not only Pepper Smith is a good company, but it's a reputable company because hearing from other mayors from different city, because I do remember one of the meetings, they asked, who do we use? And you mentioned that we use Pepper Smith, and the mayor of that city said, that's a good company. A very reputable company, a very solid company, very transparent, so
Okay,
it's
at
a
this
goal.
point, I'm going to call for the vote. We have a motion and we have a second. Please vote.
Item number 10 passes 4-1.
Thank you.
Thank you